Greetings, Academia friends all around the world. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening for a very special Dia de Muertos edition of Academia Live. I am preparing a couple of things tonight. So the first thing is a dish that's commonly served around this holiday called Calabaza and Tacha, or Calabaza enmealada. And it's basically a candied pumpkin is what it translates to, or candied squash. And this sort of acorn squash is what I'm going to use. And the way you do it is you basically make a syrup out of piloncillo. And I've got these incredible piloncillos that we bought at the farmer's market there in Guadalajara. These are traditional like whole brown sugar cones. And then from the different sugar producing areas of Mexico, they take on different characteristics. So I have two different types of piloncillo here that I'm going to make my syrup with. And it will be flavored with some of these incredibly delicious Mexican cinnamon sticks. So the syrup will get poured over the big chunks of roasted squash, and the squash will basically simmer in the syrup, take in all that syrup. So that will be the candied pumpkin, and that is a treat in and of itself. You can either drizzle more syrup over it and eat it like a dessert, well, with ice cream, or you can pour some milk on it and eat it like a breakfast thing. But what I'm going to do is reduce that syrup. I'm going to save the candied squash for breakfast, and then I'm going to make something a little more of an evening treat by making a syrup out of that sort of roasted squash infused piloncillo. And I'm going to make a really awesome old-fashioned for the Dia de Muertos celebration using Roca, Patrón, Añejo, and some Gran Patrón Smoky. So I'm going to go ahead and get started preparing these squash, and we'll see you in a few moments. So cut the squash in pieces and then pull out the seeds, and these seeds can be saved to make a wholly different treat, which is pepitas. You can clean them, dry them, and you roast them, toss them with some oil, salt, roast them in an oven or toaster oven. And those are a delightful snack. These I'm going to clean and save for another occasion. I'm going to go ahead and just make sure I get all that stringy pumpkin guts out of there, squash guts. Just using a serrated grapefruit spoon here. Go get the syrup started. All right, the next step in our process is to make the piloncillo syrup. And I'm going to do this in my trusty old Le Creuset Dutch oven here on the stove. I'm actually going to use all of these. This is about 1.5 dozen small piloncillo cones. And these we got these from a farmer's market in Mexico. And they're kind of petite. In most, like in any kind of Mexican grocery store in the U.S. or in the Mexican section of the mainstream grocery store, you'll find these either Fiesta brand or Goya brand piloncillo cones, a little bit bigger. And I've got about a quart of water that we'll just bring this to a boil. I went ahead and boiled the water. And we'll just get this going until we dissolve the piloncillos. Put in a couple cinnamon sticks. Break them up a little bit. Already smells amazing. We're just getting started. I can tell already that the syrup is going to be super fragrant with this much cinnamon. I probably overdid it a bit. So I'm going to pull a couple out. And this is a quick process. This was only been 4 or 5 minutes. The piloncillos are already dissolved in here. And we're going to go ahead and put the squash in here. Try to make sure they're mostly covered. Make sure everybody gets dipped at least. All right, I'm just gonna put this lid back on here. Go ahead and bring this to a boil, and then we'll drop it back down to a simmer. All right, so the squash pieces have been simmering for about an hour. The syrup has really permeated and softened the squash. And now I'm going to just bring the heat back up a little bit to bring this a little bit to a higher simmer so that it will reduce and thicken so that we can make our cocktail syrup and the syrup that you would garnish the squash with. So now that my syrup has had a chance to chill, I'm going to make this delicious Calabaza old-fashioned with 1.5 ounces of Roca Patrón Añejo to 1/2 ounce of Gran Patrón Smoky. This is a similar process to Roca Patrón in that the agaves are milled by Tahona after being roasted, over 3 days in clay brick ovens, pine wood fermented, copper pot still. But the difference with Gran Patrón Smoky is that the agaves are roasted in the ground, so it just imparts this incredible ethereal smokiness to the product. And then I've got 1/2 ounce of our roasted Calabaza syrup and a couple dashes of mole bitters. Now, one of the flavors that goes into the Calabaza syrup is actually orange. And I didn't have an orange when I was putting this together, but I do happen to have satsumas. We have them growing here in our yard. So I've got some satsuma that I'll use for my garnish. Let's see. Beautiful. Just try to do a satsuma peel. It doesn't quite work quite as well as an orange, but it's COVID times, that's what we've got. A little satsuma. Oh my god, it smells awesome. Tastes incredible. All the things you want in an old fashioned, a little bit of that fall spice from the mole, the subtle smokiness from the Gran Patrón Smoky, and this rich sort of like pumpkin-y squash flavor coming through. It's awesome. Well, folks, I thought I had the willpower. I thought I could do it. I thought I could make it till breakfast time to enjoy my candied pumpkin, but the reality is I can't. So I'm just having breakfast for dinner, I guess. I've got a little bit of thickened cream here, and I'm just going to see how this delicious dish is. Oh my god. Holy cow. Wow. That was really, really incredible. I also don't usually have an old-fashioned for breakfast, but we're doing it all different time. Thank you so much. It's been a privilege to cook for you and talk about Dia de Muertos and Calabaza and Tacha, or Calabaza and Melada, and this delicious Calabaza old-fashioned. Please go to the YouTube channel, and in the description you will find the recipes for these dishes. Cheers!